Welcome back to another episode of We Talk Sports. We're here for our NFL Week 2 recap. This is Andy. I'm here with Sam. Sam, how are you doing today?
Good.
Good. Very. Sam is a man of many words, but he doesn't always use them when we're talking. We're going to go through each game, give a little bit of our thoughts on the games, and sprinkle in a few fantasy nuggets here and there as well. We'll kick it off with the Thursday night game. Washington Commanders at Green Bay Packers. Packers win 27-18. Packers 2-0, looking like one of the top teams in the NFL. Only thing that really stood out in this game from the Packers' perspective is Tucker Kraft, a tight end, crushed it. From a Washington perspective, they don't look right, and trading Brian Robinson Jr., who's Sam's favorite player, away seems to be backfiring as Austin Eckler's out for the season. Their running game is not quite doing what we were hoping for. Sam, any thoughts on that?
Nope.
What do you think about Brian Robinson Jr.? Should they have kept him?
Yep. Their new rookie running back didn't do very great. And Austin Eckler is out for the season.
Yeah. So you think if they had kept Brian Robinson Jr., would he be starting right now?
Probably.
All right. Good. Let's move on. Entertaining game here between the Giants and the Cowboys. Unexpectedly a shootout. I think people thought the Cowboys might score plenty of points here based on how they did week 1, but I don't think a lot of people expected the Giants to score 37 points with Russell Wilson at quarterback. To be fair, 21 of those 37 came in the fourth quarter, and they lose in overtime on a long field goal. Sam, any thoughts for you on the Giants and the Cowboys?
Nope.
Nothing? What about Malik Neighbors? Come on, you like to talk about Malik Neighbors.
He did good, but...
Do you think Russell Wilson can keep this going?
No.
No? Okay. All right, we'll wake Sam up here soon. All right, not much more else to say there. Giants are headed towards a disastrous season and a total redo of their coaching staff and front office is my guess. Next up, for me personally, the toughest one to talk about, Bengals beat the Jaguars 31-27, but they lose Joe Burrow, likely for the season. He was my top fantasy quarterback on my team. Jake Browning will take over for the rest of the season. He's done pretty good in his time covering for Burrow in the past. Sam, what do you think about the Jaguars-Bengals?
Joe Burrow got toe 3 and has to have surgery, and the Bengals are hopeful that he's going to be back for the end of the season, but I think he's currently out for about 3 weeks, so we'll see if the Bengals with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and are able to still do pretty good, even though they don't have Joe Burrow.
Yeah, just to clarify, you said 3 weeks. It's 3 months for sure.
3 months, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't downgrade the Bengals' offensive players because of the injury. I think they're still going to do well. I think on the Jaguars side, Brian Thomas Jr. looks like there's something not right there, so I'm a little worried about that. But Travis Etienne, I think, is the real deal. He's going to have a great season. Sam, what do you think?
Recently, I believe today, Brian Thomas Jr. was upgraded back to active from questionable for week 3.
Yeah, he has a wrist injury of some sort. Maybe that was the issue, but I'm not sure that's all that's going on there. Trevor Lawrence, also somebody I thought was going to have a big season with the new coach, Liam Cohen. He's done okay. I think he might end up having a good season, and these things take a little bit of time, but he still kind of looks like the Trevor Lawrence we've seen the last few years, which is an okay quarterback, but nothing special, which is disappointing considering his hype when he came into the league. Let's move on to a divisional rivalry between the Bears and the Lions in Detroit. Lions did not look good in week 1. The Bears are the Bears. And in this case, the Lions showed up big time, winning 52-21. Their entire offense was a big question mark with Ben Johnson off to the Bears. But here in week 2, I think if you have Lions players on your fantasy team, you can breathe a little bit easier today because they had no problem with the Bears. 52-21. Any thoughts there, Sam?
Well, I thought after week 1 that the Lions weren't going to be that great. But I think it's just the Packers are a very good team this season. The Commanders, they completely stopped all their running backs and didn't look great. And they also made the Detroit Lions look terrible in week 1. So I think the Lions are actually a pretty good team and are still definitely playoff contenders. Just the Green Bay Packers are absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I like that analysis. All right, let's move on to the Rams at Titans. Rams moved to 2-0 with a 33-19 win over the Titans, who dropped to 0-2. I think, the Rams, as long as Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua stay healthy, they're going to be fine. They did what they had to do to win this game. Cam Ward looks like he's got some promise, but the Titans are just not a good football team, and they're going to lose a lot of games this year. I don't know that there's much more to say. Sam's giving me the thumbs down. He's got nothing to add to the Rams-Titans, even though he's a big Puka Nacua fan and has him on his fantasy team whenever he can. All right, let's move on. Patriots at Dolphins. Patriots win 33-27. Dolphins, another woefully bad team, it looks like. They showed at least some signs of life offensively here, but they dropped to 0-2, dropping a home game to a Patriots team that's probably pretty mediocre. I don't know that there's too much more to talk about in this game either. Sam, you got anything to say?
I think the Dolphins just are a terrible team this year, and I think they'll easily be in the top 10 draft picks. I wouldn't be surprised if they're the top 3, either like the first overall pick or second or third. I don't think they're going to do that great this season. I think it may be time to move on from Tua.
Yeah, it could be a full reset. Mike McDaniel could be out maybe during the season. They have a top draft pick next year. Might be time to get the next quarterback, see where they could go from there. All right, let's move on to 49ers at Saints. 49ers banged up. A lot of guys out. Brock Purdy didn't play. Kittle didn't play. But Mac Jones did a decent job. Brandon Ayuk, yep, Sam just reminded me he's still out. Mac Jones did a decent job. San Francisco did just enough. The Saints dropped to 0-2 with the loss. The only thing I'll take away from the Saints is that Spencer Rattler actually looks a little better than I was expecting as an NFL quarterback. I think if they stick with him, he might, by mid to late in the season, actually resemble a starter-level NFL quarterback, and there is some sneaky fantasy upside there depending on the week as a streamer. So when you're looking at bye-week quarterback, Spencer Rattler would not have guessed could help you out, but I think actually he might. Sam, you got anything to share about the 49ers and the Saints?
Not much.
Yeah, Spencer Rattler was a top prospect in college. It was a name that, he moved around a lot. I think he played for multiple teams in college.
I believe in his recruiting, when he was getting recruited, he was listed as the 9th ranked recruit in the country as a 5-star. Yeah,
and I'm sorry to say this, but I think I just pulled a hamstring talking about the 49ers game. There's something contagious about their injuries. So we'll move on to another game before either of us get any further injured. All right, Battle of New York in the Bills visiting the Jets. Two teams going in opposite directions. Bills win 30-10. Josh Allen looked beat up a little earlier, got a bloody nose, came back in the game. Bills look very good right now. That's Sam and I both picked them to win the Super Bowl. The Jets, after their offensive explosion in week 1 against the Steelers, laid an egg here. Justin Fields went out with a concussion. Looks like it's going to keep him out this week as well. And you might think, well, if he left the game early with a concussion, that might explain what happened here. But he actually went out in the fourth quarter and had really done nothing since then. Huge regression for the Jets offense. Sam, what do you got to say about that game?
I think Justin Fields, even though he didn't do great in that game, I do think once he comes back from his concussion, I think he will be a pretty good quarterback, and I think he's going to get the Jets, maybe not a playoff appearance, but I think he'll at least do decent for them.
All right. I think he will too, but he didn't look good there, and he's now going to lose another week here with the concussion at least. All right, moving on. We got the Seahawks beating the Steelers in Pittsburgh, 31-17. I would not have guessed that a Steelers defense at home would give up 31 points to a Sam Darnold-led offense. But that's 2 weeks in a row that the Steelers defense really got torched in terms of the number of points that were scored. Now, for Seattle, some of that scoring came on special teams. But 31-17, Seahawks over the Steelers. Both teams 1-1. Obviously, I don't have any idea which direction these two teams are going. Sam, what do you got going on here?
Nothing.
All right, let's move on here. Browns, Ravens. Ravens bounce back after their tough loss to the Bills in Week 1. This time, no late game heroics for Cleveland against the Ravens. It was 41-17. Only thing that I'll say about this game, Lamar Jackson was his typical amazing self, throwing for 4 touchdowns. Travis Henry, though, really didn't do anything in this game. Derrick Henry. Didn't do anything other than he lost another fumble, which is a little bit of a concern. I don't think it's a big deal. The Browns focused on him clearly and wanted to stop the run, but that was a clunker if he was on your fantasy team. That probably hurt. Browns are 0-2, and I think everyone's wondering when they're going to go to their rookie quarterbacks. My guess is Dylan Gabriel will be up next, probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks. All right. They did get their rookie running back, Quishon, said that wrong for sure, Junkins, and he did look pretty good. So he, if you're looking for a starting running back, I think he will be out there for the Browns. He didn't play a ton of snaps, but every snap he was in there for just about, he got the ball. And I think that's only going to grow over time. Next up, we had the Broncos at the Colts. Broncos go down 29-28 on a last-second field goal from the Colts to win the game. And Daniel Jones continues his dream season here by beating the Broncos. Sam, what are your thoughts on that game?
I think Daniel Jones looks pretty good. And the flag at the very end of the game that gave the Colts a redo of the kick, I don't really think that should have been a flag. I don't think they should have gotten the redo kick and stuff. But
little home cooking from the refs in Indianapolis, maybe. If you're a Bronco fan, I think the one takeaway is their offense looked a whole lot better than it did against Tennessee in Week 1. Bo Nix looks like he might, be able to avoid that sophomore slump if he can play like this, although, it's notable that they did not score in a close game in the fourth quarter at all, and went into the fourth quarter with a 5-point lead, so they needed to get another score somewhere in there. Couldn't get it. I'm just going to send out a quick fantasy warning to anyone out there who's thinking about using Daniel Jones for the rest of this season. As mentioned earlier, Joe Burrows was my fantasy starting quarterback. He is out for the year. I'm in a difficult league where quarterbacks are hard to get, and Daniel Jones will be starting for me for the rest of the year. So from this point forward, I don't expect much from him. All right, let's move on. We have a battle of two teams also going in opposite directions. You've got the Carolina Panthers visiting the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals improved to 2-0, winning 27-22. I'm not sure I consider the Cardinals to be a particularly good team, but they play who they play, and they've won those games so far. Panthers now 0-2. Bryce Young Another brutal first half. He's getting some garbage time stats in the second half, but the Panthers team does not look good. I'm not so sure the Cardinals are good either, but they win this one 27-22. They were my preseason surprise NFC playoff team, so we'll see if they can keep that going. Sam has no thoughts on that incredibly exciting game out in the desert. So let's move on to the Super Bowl rematch. Eagles at Chiefs. This game was a close one, of course, and amazingly, the Chiefs are now 0-2, losing 20-17. Eagles improved to 2-0. Now, I would say Eagles offense still does not look right. The change in offensive coordinator, to me, seems problematic. I don't know if they're going to keep winning these close games like this, but they did what they had to do. The Chiefs just don't have any offensive firepower at all. They're hoping to get Xavier Worthy back this week, possibly. He's going to try to play through an injury. They need to get some more offensive firepower, or Patrick Mahomes, as great as he is, isn't going to be able to get enough points on the board to win a lot of games. Sam, surprisingly, no thoughts on the Super Bowl rematch?
No, I do have
You do? All right. What do you got?
Well, just that this is the first time the Chiefs have gone 0-2 since they've gotten Patrick Mahomes, and the Chiefs suck.
Right. Spoken like a true Bronco fans there. All right. Sunday night game. Turned out to be pretty boring, honestly. This was the Kirk Cousins revenge game, in which he didn't play at all, but I bet Minnesota wished he had, for them at least. Falcons go into Minnesota, win 22-6. J.J. McCarthy suffers yet another injury. He will be out for yet another extended absence. That's twice already in such a short career. I don't know that J.J. McCarthy has the size or, in some cases, the ability to avoid the injury or avoid the big hit to be a long-term NFL quarterback. That may seem a little early to say, but it is concerning, to say the least, where they're at right now. Vikings and Falcons now 1-1. Didn't see much from the Falcons passing offense, but they ran the ball no problem against that Viking defense, which was also a little bit of a surprise. Kept it conservative, 22-6. Vikings sure wish they had Kirk Cousins right now. They'll be going to Carson Wentz for the next few weeks. We'll see if that coaching staff that revived Sam Darnold's career, maybe revive Daniel Jones' career. Let's see if they can do it for Carson Wentz. That would be impressive if they do. So if you're looking for a flyer on the fantasy side, Carson Wentz, maybe there's a track record there of backup quarterbacks who get revived in Minnesota. Sam, what do you got there?
I think that J.J. McCarthy is just too injury prone, and he's kind of like Joe Burrow, who Joe Burrow gets hurt almost every season. However, unlike Joe Burrow, he doesn't seem to be that good, and he doesn't quite seem to be an elite quarterback, and I don't know if he's going to work out in the NFL.
Scathing words from Sam right there. He's not that good. All right. Now we're going to move on to the rare doubleheader on Monday night. Tampa Bay Bucks at the Houston Texans. Tampa Bay wins this one on a wild finish with the last second, really with 6 seconds left, touchdown after it looked like the Texans had scored a late touchdown to win the game. 2019 Tampa wins. Tampa, 2-0. They're getting a job done. Their offense still, I don't think, has hit peak explosion yet compared to last year. We'll see. They also, big theme here, Lions, Eagles, Tampa, all losing offensive coordinators who led to big seasons last year, have struggled to kind of get things going this year. Texans, there's not a whole lot of things to talk about there offensively, although I do think that the running situation with Chubb isn't as bad as people think. I think as he gets further away from recovering from his last injury, he's going to be a viable starting running back from a fantasy perspective, at least. That team's just not going to win very many games, especially with their offensive line. Sam, what do you got there?
Not much, but I will say that the kick return from Noel was a pretty good one. I believe he got about 64 yards and almost got a touchdown. he just barely, the last guy got him down.
Yeah, that was a clutch return, too, at a time when they really needed it. That guy's fast. I had never heard of him until we watched that, and then Sam and I looked him up, and you say it was a third-round pick at wide receiver, Sam?
Yep, in this draft.
Yep. Well, maybe Houston can use a guy like that a little bit more because their offense is lacking. Nico Collins is going to put up his numbers, but it's not going to be enough to keep them going if they can't get secondary weapons. All right, we're going to go to the last game of the week, a late game on Monday night, especially for those of you on the East Coast. Chargers go in and beat the Raiders 20-9. Another division win, 2 in a row for the Chargers. No problem with the Raiders. Geno Smith was an interception machine. He had a good week 1, did not have a good week 2. The only takeaway here with the Chargers, I would say, is they haven't really been able to get Omarion Hampton, their first-round running back, going. It was only a second game, but I think people thought he was going to explode on the scene. Ashton Genty for the Raiders, another first-round running back. People felt the same way about him, and so far for both, it's not that they've looked terrible. They just haven't, exploded yet. So we'll see where that goes. Raiders are 1-1. See if they can recover from that one. But Chargers look like the team to beat in the AFC West right now, as Jim Harbaugh might be doing what Jim Harbaugh does, which is year 2. The team is now, molded in his image, and they are going to be tough to beat. That's all we have for this week, so we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks for listening. We'll be back again and doing a summary of week 3. Talk to you all later.